All right, what is happening, everybody? No time to waste here. Welcome to Limitless Crypto. We have some major news. You can see clearly that Bitcoin is dropping significantly here. It's an absolute pleasure. Hope you guys are doing well. You see the breakout here right now. Let's cover it live. Let's see what we can do here. I think there are a lot of opportunities in the market at this specific moment here. Hope you are prepared. If not, let me help you out today. Looking forward to host you today. As always here, my name is Lorenzo Prado. We have our new channel called Limitless Crypto here to help you out on a day-to-day basis with everything that you need to know about the markets. Okay, fantastic here. Let's see what we have in the building. Let's kick it off right away here. We have broken the 40.2 we have in the building. We have also see a breakdown, a closure below the 40.2K. Very important closure. Hope you guys are doing well here. Great to have you here once again. Let me see what we have in the building here. We have Jackie and Rusher. Good to see you. Mariana, hello. Great to see you too. John, Funbox. Incredible guys, incredible guys. Keep it up, keep it up. This is what we like to see here. Amazing, amazing vibe so far. Let's get the party started. It is time to get this going here. It gets very, very interesting right now, guys. All right, this is the moment where we truly have to pay attention to the market right now. This is potentially the moment where you're gonna see the best trading opportunities coming in here. The volume is still there, and there are a lot of signals now showing us that we might potentially experience some sort of, bounce here, and that bounce could be extremely beneficial. We have a couple of setups here that we'd like to discuss right away. I don't think we should waste that much time on just Bitcoin. You guys know it. We've been going over Bitcoin every single time, every single day. We've been talking about the levels here, about why we expect more downside potential, potentially coming down towards the $30,000 here. We all know why. The weekly levels are screaming for a pullback right here, and that confirmation is currently what we're getting. So far, obviously, this is no surprise to us. We know prices would potentially come down here. The question is, how do we as traders benefit from that particular volatility right here? That's what we're doing here. Okay, very important stuff in regards to Bitcoin right now. The major key level was the 40.2K. We closed a daily candle below it. And what happened, guys, again, like we talked about it many, many times before, the next daily candle opens up. And what it does is it comes up, it retests the 40.2 here. That's like the current daily high. You could see right here, there was around the 40.2, the retest, followed by that rejection. So that means that we have seen a breakdown below. The daily candle closed below the 40.2K. The next candle comes up, tries to break above it, fails, flips, turns around, and aggressively moves down here. So with that in mind, of course, when taking the Bitcoin dominance in consideration, as what we said, once we're reaching the 51% here, the 51%, that's the moment when we might, face a lot of pain here for these altcoins. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Why? Because the Bitcoin dominance has strong higher time frame support. And if it goes up and the price comes down because of the Tether dominance shooting up, altcoins are going to get wrecked. Altcoins are going to get absolutely destroyed. And that's what you're currently seeing here. However, there's light at the end of the tunnel again. Okay, there is a possibility here of an amazing opportunity in the market right now, also to the upside here, the short-term bounce to the upside. And I'll tell you exactly why that is in detail. Okay, keep a close eye on it here. Let me see who else we have here in the building. Absolutely amazing. We have Funbox. Great to see you, my friend. Billy Joe. Let me know if you're here, my man. Vicky, Maria, Antonina Marton, Cowboy. Good morning, fam. Good to see all the regulars here and ready and willing to go. Let's do this. Beautiful. Pavel. Good afternoon, John. Good morning, my friend. Great to see you too. Leo, 62. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you, my friend. Loud. Hussein says, hi, bro. Does Limitless work in cryptocurrency? Yes, sir, we do. This is our new channel. We just built this channel here, so make sure that you guys smash up that like button right now. It's extremely important for us to get the hype going in the chat. So let's do it. Let's smash it up, and we should be sorted right there. Okay, Rafal, amazing to see you too. Billy Joe here is back. Okay, amazing. Good to see you, my man. And there we go. Funbox has been a few days, but I've been watching the videos afterwards every day. Alpha. Love it. Let's go. Beautiful. Okay. So what's currently happening? Okay, we all know what's happening with Bitcoin. That's not really a surprise here. The altcoins right now is where the magic is happening here. Why? Well, look at the daily here today. This is a bloodbath, okay? A true bloodbath. Most of them, a minimum of 5% here. Some of them 20%. I've seen 30%. Significant drops here for the altcoins as well. So do take into consideration that we're seeing a major flush out for everyone that tuned into the previous hype. And of course, bought at the short-term top right now. Okay, so we're seeing the breakdown here. Some of them are already recovering. Look at that. Boom. Last hour, immediate bounce here. 4.9%, 5.7. All right, 5.1, 3.6, 4.8. Are we too late or is there still more coming? That's what we're going to discuss here right now on this show. You can see clearly when looking at the Tether dominance right here. You guys know it. Tether dominance goes up, the market crashes. Why? The Bitcoin dominance goes up, the Tether dominance goes up, altcoins, severe pain. Okay, that's what you're seeing right now. However, the good part of what we're seeing here at this particular moment here on the weekly time frame is that we broke, first of all, to the daily resistance that we had around 6.2%. We talked about that one yesterday. We said if this is going to break, this is when Bitcoin is going to break down and truly going to break below that key daily level. That's happened, okay? Now we come back to that weekly resistance. This is by far the strongest resistance for the Tether dominance to break. If you break above the 6.5, 30K Bitcoin. That's what we're going to see there, potentially here, okay? But for now, we're sticking above or below, sorry, the 6.5%, and we're actually reacting from it. So if you go to the 50-minute right now, you can see a much more clearer, sign of what we're currently seeing here. All right, the Amsoul's way, thank you for the sub. So you can see clearly that the weekly time frame at 6.5% is that rejection point right now. And look at what we're doing here. We're starting to slow down here. This is getting pushed down. We're starting to slowly break here. If this is going to turn around back to the daily, or it's going to come back towards the 6.27%, the previous highs right there, then altcoins are potentially going to move here. Why? Because the Bitcoin dominance right now on the 1 hour chart here as well is also in resistance. So these are kind of it's the sweet spot, okay? You want the Bitcoin dominance to be in resistance. You want the Tether dominance being in resistance, preferably the weekly, the higher, the better. And therefore, if both of them break down, you're going to see a tremendous recovery of altcoins in the very short term here. Total 3 right now is at major weekly support. This is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's only altcoins right now, $449 billion. We came from $535 billion. So that's almost $100 billion, less market cap than it was at the highs here. Okay, so right now you tapped into that weekly support here for the first time today as well. So what you're seeing on the 15-minute already is you see that bounce and you see right now potentially a breakthrough moment here coming along here for total 3. So if that's happening here and you combine that then of course with the Tether dominance, the Bitcoin dominance, you're setting yourself up for a potential retracement to the upside here in the very short term. So that's why things are looking very interesting. So Bitcoin, fantastic. We bounced from the 38.5K here. I had a buy limit order set at around 38.5K. We talked about my buy limit orders previously as well, from 38, 34, 31, and so on, DCAing in, talked about it as well. Liquidation heat map, okay? More and more liquidity gets, built above the $42,000 right now. It is a significant area. It's definitely something that you have to take in consideration. Not a single high has been taken out right here at this current moment right here. You see that every single high right there is not taken out. So it's a constant sell-off without any serious bounce right now, okay? There are a couple of trade setups which I think are extremely important. The trick that we always use here when looking and determine potential scenarios and setups here is by looking at the secondary dominance, okay? We have shared this one in Discord as well. It's a great moment for you to join our Discord. I'm going to head into it in a second here. But again, you can see already that the secondary dominance is great, a great tool to look at. Why is it so important? Well, yes, we're negative here. What you need to look out for now is which one is the least negative. That's actually what we're looking for. Solana, positive, okay? 0.14% dominance, positive. That's really good when the market is dropping. The fact that Solana is holding its ground here, Cardano also looking reasonable. So we're going to talk about all these specific, assets as well as potential setups for all of these right here to confirm a breakdown to the downside, to therefore look if you can trade, this market to the upside here. Key levels to take consideration as well here is by understanding one more time the higher time frame. Okay, the weekly time frames are absolutely key. Let me explain you why here. For example, we have BNB right now coming back towards weekly support. Okay, that's what you want to see. You want to see a flush out. You want to see bouncing off of weekly support. Why? That's the strongest support you can get here. The weekly and monthly levels. Okay, therefore it's such a good tool to take consideration, just to draw out your levels right here, to look at these levels right there. If there is a flush out, which ones of these are going to actually go towards these type of weekly levels right here. All right, BNB is one of them. All right, BNB right now is setting up here. Immediately see at least a short-term bounce here. At the same time, we're starting to compress right now at this particular moment. While we're waiting for is that breakout moment here for BNB. That's one layer. Cardano, same thing right now. We are still holding above weekly support. We just tuned into that weekly support right now at the moment at 45.105 right here. So we have this high, we have this low right now, flipping potentially into support. Again, potentially, right? You've never know. There are no certainties in trade. The only thing that we can look at are all these confluences coming together here. And if to go a little bit deeper, of course, also to have a look at the order flow a little bit deeper into the market to see if actually buyers are present and if sellers are potentially exhausted as well in the market. This is also a key level to take a little bit further. But for us right now, these key levels are weekly levels, super important to take in consideration. So if you take this to the 15-minute right now, you can see clearly that Cardano already is reacting perfectly from that weekly level. And why is it so important? Well, we broke the high that created the initial lows here. We just broke two particular highs that were key to take in consideration right now. This was the last low. This was that weekly bounce. Now we have taken out the highs. Any retracement could lead into that continuation for Cardano as well here. So that's also a very, very good one to look at. Harmony One, similar data right now, right here. Let me quickly remove what we have set up here because I have placed a couple of orders round about that zone here. But again, same thing, okay? Harmony One, weekly support right now, okay? Previous resistance, support, support, support once again. So that's what you want to see. You go to the 15-minute time frame, you look at the internal structures right there, and you right now look at, okay, are the sellers exhausted? What are the confluences right now? Well, kind of you can see the same thing happening right here. This was that high, this was that low. And what happened was you made that flush out, you liquidated the lows. The people that were long early got stopped out right now. That's what you want. You want to, get rid of these guys first. You come up, you expand. Any retracement could lead into that particular continuation as well here. So Harmony One is also a fantastic trade opportunity to look at right now. And with that said, there are a couple bunch more setups that we can, take advantage of right here. Okay, now we quickly go to Solana as well because we saw that the Solana was, relatively positive here. So I think it's an important one to not neglect at this particular moment. And there we go. Look at what we're seeing right here. Also for Solana, we tapped into a weekly area of the month right here. So you see that candle, you're actually kind of holding up into this particular zone right now. Fantastic. And look what happens on the 15-minute. You bounce into that zone here. You're now taking out the highs right now as well. So that's all a very, very good beginning to start looking for the next coming, hours ahead of us here. If that bounce is actually confirmed here. So far, we are very looking very, very solid here. The Tether dominance is showing more weakness here. We also have now that the New York Stock Exchange has opened already for 1 hour. So, the majority of initial volume, came into the market as well. And therefore, I think that this could be the moment, once again, where we should be seeing at least some sort of short-term turnaround here. Who knows? We're going to find out here in a second. Of course, we're going to keep a very close eye on the Bitcoin price. It is important to mention as well of what Bitcoin is doing here. But again, this is now finally a level where you could think that buyers are interested in. All right, the 38.5 is a fantastic level to look at in general here. Anything around the 40, you could see that there was just too much fear in the market. You could see now with the 38.5 that, this is where at least a bunch of limits were placed previously for the people that are now, DCAing into the market right now. Anything below the 40K is amazing for DCAing, dollar cost averaging in from 40 to 30 and start buying at, each one of these specific levels right here. So the fact that there is more demand is very, very interesting to see. And again, of course, combine that with the current liquidity as well on the top side. All right. What would invalidate everything? Well, that's very straightforward. That's just going to be the market dominance, the Tether dominance coming above the 6.5%. If that happens, it's over in the short term with the bounce. But it's going to be hard for them to break it, in my opinion, right away. But again, it is important to mention that's the key level. You should always in your head think about, what is the level that invalidates my bias? Never be emotionally attached to a certain outcome here. Just be aware of, okay, this is what I think now. This is what I no longer will think when this happens. And in this case, for me, it's a break above the 6.5% for the Tether dominance. So that's for me the key level to look at right now. Bitcoin at support, it's very hard to now determine, okay, if you break the 38.5, the next stop is going to be the 37, 0.9, and so on here. This is, of course, a next key level to start looking at. But, that could be an easy flush out here, whereas the Tether dominance is just very straightforward, very clear. That's a weekly zone. If you break above that weekly zone, you come up into that range, you claim your territory back in that range here. And because there is still kind of a big gap there, that could immediately, lead into that continuation. You can start turning that weekly resistance into support. And, once that happens, of course, there is a big chance of a continuation for the upside here and a continuation to the downside for the market. So with it in mind right now, that's not the case. So, these upside trade setups are interesting here. Now, let's quickly go over yesterday as well. As always, what I do here is I set you guys up, right? I create a watch list on the stream. Yesterday was, of course, pretty complicated right now. We came right into the daily support here. We didn't see buyers really stepping in. So there was not that much, buying pressure yet. We said like, hey, if you, if you, fuck something up with your friend, for example, right? And you create a break of trust, it takes time for the trust to be rebuilt. And that's what you saw, when price kept dropping and dropping and dropping, there were no, tools and there were no confirmations that there was actually demand yet into the market here. Otherwise, we would have easily swiped, these highs right here before already. That didn't happen. So at this particular moment, for Bitcoin right now, we just need to see how the Tether dominance reacts and if you're going to see that breakdown, because if that happens, it's a very easy bounce confirmation, and that could lead in a bunch of altcoin setups, trade setups right here, to be exact. Okay, so quickly, just to confirm one more time, what I do is I update you guys here. This is Monday, yesterday stream, the new week. All right, we had the Monday YouTube watchlist live stream update. The setup that we discussed yesterday, same as what we're going to do today. I just make sure that it's highlighted and noted here. Okay, what happened here yesterday with Dogecoin? By far, boom, immediate stop loss. We had this setup right here. We talked about the 83457. Boom, came down right away. We never reclaimed that initial level. Therefore, that was a direct stop loss right here. Okay, so let's say you risk 1%, you lose a 1%. Okay, next one was Cardano. All right, Cardano never came to the highs, never broke the high. Not a higher high doesn't mean, it's just a confirmation that there is no trade yet. We wanted to see a higher high. We wanted to trade the higher low. That was Cardano. The third one was Chainlink. Same thing. Never seen that retracement right here. We waited for price to pull back into the 15.227. For our trade setup, our stop loss was going to be at 15.410. Never came to that level. No trade. All right. Then we had Phantom, number 4. We talked about this one, right? We said if we have a daily closure below the 0.35, this was the daily level right here that you can see, okay? We wanted to wait for that candle closure. We wanted the next candle to be bullish. And if it flips that body, that's when you enter, all right? That's exactly when you want to enter right here. You want to enter on that candle flip, turn it into a 3-to-1 right away. That's the easiest trade to take. We talked about when you break daily support, you close below it, the next candle flips bearish, that's the trade to take. That's where you put your stop loss above the wick and you target the next possible lows here. So that was a win. Beautiful win here for Phantom. Then Arbitrum. We talked about Arbitrum as well here. Arbitrum was, I don't remember. That was a higher high. Oh no, but the same thing. So not a higher high. Therefore we couldn't trade the higher low. We couldn't flip that initial breaker block. Now I remember that breaker block back into support and therefore trade to the upside here. We never got that confirmation. So no higher high means no trade right here. Then we had Phoenix, PHB, to be exact right there, okay? Beautiful, fantastic. We talked about this one right here. That was the top. We said either it's going to break down right away and we're going to look for a trade towards the upside, or it's going to come up, it's going to tap into the previous high and it comes down. So this is where I think the best trade of yesterday here was by far PHB here. I mean, Phantom was also very beautiful, but you come up into that high. This is where you put your entry. Your stop loss was at 8929 and you target the previous lows right here. That pretty much a perfection. Okay. Then we had Solana. Same thing. Okay. Solana, same thing. Not as great as Phantom. Okay. We got to be realistic here. But at the same time, there is still a massive gap right there. Closure below a daily level. Next candle comes up. It flips bearish. Stop loss above the highs. You target the lows 2 to 1 on your money. Easy money, daily time frame. You could also go to the lower time frame right here. And the last one was Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum broke below here. Could have done the same thing, but I would have not taken that daily flip. I said it yesterday here, guys. And the reason why was because of that range. You start coming right into the price action of that range right here. And this is a bit too tricky for you to then look for that particular entry due to the fact that, you have that price action right there. A lot of volume was traded in that range. You don't want to enter a short right into that volume. It was a little bit too tricky, whereas you can see that Solana has nothing there, right? A massive gap here. Phantom, of course, same thing. Also a massive gap below. So overall, positive outcome here. Most of them did not play out. We have to be realistic here. And Dogecoin was also a big fat loss here. You cannot win every single trade. That's just not the reality. I should be losing more than I actually win and still make money. That's the mindset I should have, okay? I should lose more than I win, but my winners are bigger than my losers. Therefore, it compensates for my initial losses as well. That's just, risk management and everything that you come into play here. So a couple were regular SMC setups and a couple were, daily candle flip trade scenarios right here, okay? That's what we're looking for. So for today, much more confirmation about what we're looking for right here. And that is what you can see already. You see it's currently happening and total 3 is doing what it needs to do here. And that is break above critical internal resistance, which is you're going to find right now. It's at $450 billion. All the altcoins combined right there. So if you start breaking this particular high right there, this is where things get, extremely interesting. Okay. This is one of them. It looks very strong already. You can see that you're kind of holding up here and that we need to break above the 50. If you do that, you start pushing further to the upside here. And that means that the bounce is absolutely imminent for these altcoins right there, okay? So that's why I have placed some orders for one right now below in that range, starting at 0.01326, stop loss at 0.01315, and then another one on the lower time frame on the 5-minute here, starting at 0.013, and my stop is at 1298. So what I do is I don't risk 1%, I risk 0.5%. And what I then do is I just, spread my risk. If I get stopped out on one, it's fine because then I can go to the second trade. And if I get stopped out on that second trade, I lose 1%, whatever. We go to the next one. And that's the process and the mindset we should have here. Sometimes it's better to spread your risk amongst multiple, trade setups rather than putting all your eggs in one basket. Therefore, it higher the chance of your probability because you cannot always know where buyers will step in, unless, of course, you use the footprint charts and you start really looking deep into, the actual buyers and sellers and the sentiment, the volume, the delta, and all that stuff here. But that's another topic for later. So that's one for one. Very, very good. Solana right now is already pushing also Yeah, up above this high here. So this is also what I like to see right now. You see that retest already. I mean, if you start breaking above this high, you kind of have that lower time frame, you know, confirmation. And that could also lead into that continuation. Stop loss below the lows, target the highs, and I look for, you know, further continuation to the upside here. The Tether dominance is looking relatively weak. What's important to mention is, of course, we need to start breaking below the 6.4%. All right, that's kind of where we're holding on just a little bit. Okay, we really need to start breaking the 6.4% to lead into further continuation to the downside, which is extremely bullish for the altcoins as well, because of the Bitcoin dominance right now getting heavily rejected. So you guys getting it right here. Okay, Bitcoin dominance in resistance right there. All right, Tether dominance in resistance right there. Bullish for altcoins, very bullish for altcoins right now. We are seeing and experiencing the New York Stock Exchange to open up already, so there should be enough volume to work with. So I think it's time to I mean, it's game on. Okay. Last thing before we chart, we go over much more charts here, which I think are key. All right, we talked about we talked about bullish, a long for Solana. We talked about a long for Cardano, potentially long for BNB when we get that confirmation. Looks actually quite interesting right now. BNB is setting up nicely. We, of course, need to wait for that breakthrough moment, but it's going to come sooner or later, unless, of course, the Tether dominance completely turns around here. We have an invalidation point. So before we do that here, quickly, let's go over the crypto wins in our Discord. You know, it's amazing to see that people are absolutely crushing it here. Vicky, I know you're watching. Amazing to see some quick bounce scalps. Have closed half of both and see where they can get to. Vicky, you're crushing it. All right, Solana, exactly what we're looking for. Ethereum, also, you know, a W for Vicky in the chat here. Okay, then Tim. We had a VIP signal yesterday. I think Tim gave you guys that signal. We talked about the signal or on the live stream as well. You can see already that right now at this particular moment, the trade has been completely filled. They are completely taken out here. Came down. This was, you know, a nice 4.5 to 1. All right, with 2 TP points right here. So you would be averaging a 3 to 1 on your money if you have taken these TP points as well. I highly recommend to do so. So therefore, there was a big win. A lot of guys took this actual signal right here, which is amazing to see right now. Ara says another super setup by trader Tim. 283% on render. Formex says render 375%. Went to full TP, good trade. Powell as well, 101%. Beautiful. And Frank closed most of trader's Tim trade, just shy of the 3.555 level, leaving a small potential runner. Man, a lot of guys took this one here. So big shout out to Trader Tim. Okay. And if you guys want to get free access to the actual signals here, the only thing that you need to do right now is to join our Discord, sign up with one of our exchanges, deposit $100 on your account here. Once you have deposited $100 on your account, that's the moment when we grant you access to the crypto VIP, and you can start benefiting from Tim's signals as well. So you don't have to do it yourself. It's time to change up what you're doing. It's time to take things to the next level. Tim was one of our best students, now one of the best mentors right here as well in the crypto VIP. So, you know, absolutely incredible to see his development. And again, it proves one more time that if you just stick to it long enough, through thick and thin, bear or bull market, whatever the case may be, you know, the potential is huge. Okay, incredible. Now let's dive into the market dominance. We're breaking down, guys. This is a confirmation right now. I highly recommend to start looking seriously at you know, at these quick bounce levels, pullbacks, and looking for further continuation to the upside here. That's what we're looking for. It's happening right now at the moment. This is now a breaker. A true maker or breaker moment here, but it looks like a maker moment for most of these altcoins right now at the moment here. So BNB is right now breaking potentially above the 297.2. I think this is just fantastic. If we can close above this zone here, then you know, we do have some really solid upside potential as well for further continuation for BNB. So BNB, put it on your radar. Might be entering a trade very shortly. Okay. Let's see if there are any questions in the chat as well. Throw your setups right there. We'd highly appreciate it if we can look together at a couple more setups right now at the moment here. But once again, this is now truly the moment to be really like quick, start going through them and start really, be very, very precise with what we're looking for in regards to particular entries right here. Okay, because it could be very, very cool, very interesting to see what will happen right now in the very, very short term. Okay. Billy Joe says Omax is interesting. Dylan says Tao or Tao. Yes. By the way, for Solana now, just to clarify here, let's take this to the 15-minute. This could simply just lead into that continuation here. What I would prefer though is a little bit of a retracement right now towards this range, followed by that confirmation. Back into that range, to retest that price action and to start then looking for further upside right now. Same thing for Harmony 1 here. This is also that consolidation, that manipulation, that expansion. So any retracement, is what we want to look for, for that particular, continuation right here. So with that said, we have one, we have Solana, we have BNB, and then we have Cardano as well. You can see right now that total 3 is breaking out of that key level of 40 or $450 billion right now. So the next stop could be $460 billion. That's a $10 billion move, huh? A $10 billion gap right now that we have, potentially here to fill. So, this is a very, very interesting level to look at. And this is, of course, is the target where you want to really start taking profits if you're in your positions and stuff. So if you get there, this is where, you have to be a bit careful. As long as we are not there, you could still create a higher low, higher high, and you can look for that continuation to the upside right here. This is, in my opinion, where you have to pay very close attention to, because if it's there already and you then start going into your long positions, this is a little bit on the later side. This is where you have to be careful. So that's why it's great to look at the total market cap chart and to just look at these type of key levels as well. So you know exactly when it's time to take some profits on the lower time frame. Okay, same thing. This also works in the higher time frame as well. When you get to like higher time frame weekly levels, and you start really bouncing to the upside right here, strong, let's say, then of course you have to understand that currently at the $640 billion, that's the next layer. Okay, this is where you want to take profits on the higher time frame. So if you are a spot trader, this is of course where you have to understand that this is where you want to start getting out of the market in the short term, because if you see that rejection here, you could see another rejection followed by a pullback and then a continuation to the upside, something in that manner. These are all the things that we look at. So whatever happens on the higher time frame, you can also implement this, of course, on the lower time frame. So when we break and we bounce from a critical level, we break internal structure, you look at the next layer of resistance, and this is where you want to then start taking out some of your profits as well. So hope that makes sense from your side here. All right, let's smash up that like button here. Let's get some hype in the chat here. We have a couple of requests already. We're already at 46 likes. That's amazing. If we can get this to 60 likes in a very short term, that would be absolutely astonishing right here, okay? 60 likes, fantastic. It's a small gesture from your side. And it means a lot to this new channel. So thank you very much, okay? Let's start up with Tao. Indeed, Dylan Vermaak. Sounds like a Dutch guy. Right there. All right, let's kick it off with Tao. All right, I'm gonna set an alert here real quick so we make sure that we get notified, okay? It's also important. Don't forget to set your alerts on a day-to-day basis. I think that's important to mention here. Same for BNB, by the way. Let's do this for BNB as well. Let's see if we can get this sorted. And let's go to Tao, my friend. Let's see what we have here. We have Maxi Bit Sensor, yeah, okay. So let's just clean it up. What has happened here? What has happened here? Okay, this is not looking strong, my man. So this is definitely not bounce worthy, in my opinion. All right. no, this is not bounce worthy in my opinion right now at the moment. We can do a full analysis here, but you know, I don't think it makes that much sense. We are still holding below the 267 at this particular moment. If he would have broken that, you know, this is where things get interesting. But again, we just created a lower low where others are looking very, very good here. So, you know, we cannot look at Tao right now at the moment. What we can look for though, if you want to have, you know, that understanding again, you go to like the 3 daily chart, you know, you have created a lower low right here. So this is now a lower low. This is now your lower high potential, right? This is that internal resistance. You know, this could be easily flipping further to the downside. Your key level of support is at 218. If you break this, the next stop is 154. So that's a serious move to the downside. We're talking about 30% from there. Okay. So yeah, do take that in consideration. Billy Joyce's Omax is interesting. Yeah, I want to scroll through a lot of them right now at this particular moment here and see what we can do. So Omax, we have set our alerts right now. Okay. Omax right here is critical, is soon at critical resistance on the higher time frame. So this is just a breakout scenario right now. Quickly look at BNB in a second here. Yeah, so we are in a breakout right now. We are, you know, topping into the 23 soon. I think this is what you need to break. If you break this, you could lead and flip it into support and look for further continuation. It could also be a retracement or rejection from that level here. So far, you can see that the buyers are quite exhausted. So it's hard to say with this data, but again, this is what we're currently seeing. I think it's better to stick on the higher time frame to look for further continuation. Okay, I want to see some future setups here. All right. Crypto Moments is UMA. Dire Straits is UMA. All right, let's look at UMA, my friend. That's wow. Wow. Okay. Massive break. There are always crazy ones out there. A key level is at $5. That's a psychological level. So we are seeing that psychological level right here. We are bouncing. Yeah, I mean, you are coming back here. So let's see where we at. 70.5%. Okay, 75. This is the low. This is the high. You come back towards this range. This is where you're now bouncing from. What needs to happen is on the lower time frame, we need to break the high first. So, you know, this is what you want to see. The internal break. That shows you that shift on the lower time frame. This is what you're not seeing yet. So let's break this high. Then it's time for a higher low. Then we look at if it makes sense from, you know, the total tree perspective. You know, if, you know, we're not up too much already, you know, at the 460 burn or something like that. So, you know, it could be that this one is lagging. Okay. Look at Solana, look at one, look at the other ones right here, which are already broken structure to the upside. UMA right now has not shown, you know, that confirmation yet. So, you know, what we need to see is that higher high and higher low. But it's important to also look at the total tree if that makes sense here. So waiting for, you know, higher high pullback towards, you know, that the equilibrium of that range or something like that, which is right here in the middle. And then see if we can then flip that into support to look for further continuation for UMA right here. John says XLM. John, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Let's see. Weekly time frame, number 1. Okay, where are we? Yes, weekly support, fantastic. So you have that weekly support here. That's number 1. Signal number 1. Look for weekly support levels. Okay, or weekly levels in general. Support, resistance, support. Fantastic. That's done. 15-minute. Okay. There might be a little bit of a gap here. That's not really what we're looking. Well, it does not really matter. It's kind of like subjective in that manner as well here. So this is now getting interesting. You have broken this this initial high at 10.0942. So I think it's time to look at the lower time frame and use the volume profile here. There is a gap here. There's some gap. It's kind of like a gap there. This swing low to swing high is a little bit too high. So the only thing I'm interested in right now is the value area low, which would be between the 10.8 and the 10.755. So it's kind of like the 10.8 to 10.755. It's roughly, it's going to be like a 0.4% stop loss. So super small, which could increase your risk to reward here. The only thing is it's below the point of control, but the reason why is because I want to look at least for settles below the 50%. We have, a gap sitting also right there. So you would see that gap fill. The best thing you can look for is either a retracement towards, of course, if you bounce on the point of control and you come up, fantastic. But the thing you can look for is then a break of the highs, and then you can kind of look at this confirmation, and that's your continuation to the upside. If you smash through it, you want to look for this confirmation, and then it's the question: are we gonna claim back the point of control? This is where you immediately want to put your stop loss and break even to look for further continuation as well. But I think it's better to look at the 70.5 to 618, beautiful area of the month. A beautiful gap fill, value area low. You can see that there is a lot of volume traded also, in this range right here. That could lead into, some support as well here. So thank you for sharing. I'm gonna add this one to the list. Okay, let's see how this one goes here. All right. Vicky says I have Arbitrum marked up. It can come back down a little bit. Let's go to Arbitrum. Number one, weekly. We're below the weekly. So that's usually what I personally do not really like to see here. We're below a weekly level. Doesn't mean we could not bounce or something like that here. But I just want to be aware of the fact that this was that key level of support that we broke. So the timing was a little bit off here for Arbitrum. So now on the 4 hour, the question is now, I think it's going to be really hard. It could be to then reclaim back this level. So number one, you broke below the weekly support. Number two, on the 4 hour right now, you have this sell off, right? It cost the initial break. This is automatically already a point of interest. You can see it, right here. So the idea is to then flip this into resistance and to then look for further continuation here. But that's on the 4 hour, of course. If you want to take the lower time frame and you want to take a quick scalp to the upside, then of course there is still some potential here to come up. However, from here, if you start pushing up right now, number one, where are you going to put your stop loss? Where is going to be your entry? So if this is your entry, where do you have to put your stop loss? Maybe below the fixed run profile, but below the point of control. So you have to put it there, and then you target this high. It's like a 1.4 to 1 on your money. You want to take profit. You're gonna get into the weekly resistance. These are usually not the type of setups that we're, then looking for in the short term, at least. When there are setups like, Harmony One, for example, which has still, much more upside potential, or something in that matter. Overall, though, it doesn't mean that we're not gonna go up, of course, and we're gonna test this initial range. But again, what I'm actually interested in, if we come up here, to then see how we react around this level. If you see that we're unable to break it for whatever reason possible, then this might be an amazing level to look for that continuation play to the downside. This could also be a fantastic opportunity. So therefore, I will add it to the list, but not for a long right now, but maybe for a short if the tide turns or anything in that manner. So it's always good to have multiple different setups ready, laying out next to each other right here, and that's kind of like the way we can look at it. Okay, fantastic. Let's see what we have here. Martel says already is at weekly support. I'm a big fan of this one. The dominance has been absolutely nuts. Already has been taking over the game here ever since Bitcoin smart contracts came out, and the Bitcoin network already went absolutely bananas as one of the leaders in that narrative. So the BRC20 narrative is still on fire. We are indeed at weekly support. Exactly, my friend. So yeah, we are there. We came back into this range. It's also beautiful. We tapped into the point of control on the dot, which is amazing. That's beautiful. You're picking the right ones. Really, really clean. Really beautiful. So consolidation, expansion, retracement. I like it a lot. Go to the 15-minute. Let's go to the 5-minute. Short-term liquidity building here. Okay, that's what we want to see. What's going to help us right now is number one, we have a zone right here. I think this is an important zone to look at, which is between the 5.1.14 and between the 5.2.464. And you want to look for that retracement and therefore, for that continuation. What I would prefer is again a break above, of course, the 54.464. And the reason why is because of the higher high or internal high created a lower low. You want to break that high, right? So it's internal higher high, internal lower low, internal lower high still. That wick doesn't count. You want to see closure. You want to see a higher high. That's actually when I want to enter. That's when things get interesting. That's where you want to go. You go for these stop losses that are built up above the $56, and so on and so on, bringing you back towards the $60 here, which is a beautiful psychological level to look for. I think that already has a lot of potential. A lot of potential. I think it's an amazing potential trade here when you break above it here. The riskier play would be an entry at around the 52.24. That would kind of be that you could say riskier play. You still bounce off the weekly support, so do take that in consideration. But it will increase your risk to reward tremendously. So if you do this multiple times, one of them is going to play out, and you need to have one right. If it's a 6-1, or 1 out of 5 correct, and you will make money, if that makes sense here. So there is some potential for Ordi as well, and I definitely don't want to neglect this. So that's the one. That's the one. That's a beautiful setup here. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Really, really nice. Really clean. Beautiful. Nabosha, Sui, Simon says, what about XRP? Billy Joe says, I see many potential big reversals if BTC makes that bounce to the upside right here. Absolutely. So you're already kind of seeing that bounce right now. The only thing with Bitcoin right now is that, we need to start seeing an hourly closure. Sorry, an hourly or 4-hourly closure above, and we need to create a bottom wick. So in my opinion, it will be healthier if you would create a pullback right now to then flip that candle. So we have a new 4-hour candle right now at the moment. We just had the closure like 20 seconds ago. So what we want to see is first a retracement to the downside. That's why I believe you don't have to FOMO in yet. Because if this happens here and we're going to see, a retracement, demand steps in and we flip the candle bullish, that's when you should be in position, if that makes sense here. The Tether dominance right now, fantastic, right? We talked about the weekly. We're creating that liquidity. We're breaking below the low that created the high. This leads into more downside theory. So, there are a lot of, safe entries right now out there, but you want to have your risk to reward, at least, in the right direction here. You want to have at least a 3-to-1 on your money. Otherwise, it's maybe in the long term not as beneficial to look for the right setups here. So it still requires you to be, patient and not be FOMOing into the market here, unless you, of course, have placed like limit orders at these weekly levels beforehand already. That's another layer, but that's kind of irrelevant for now right here. But that's kind of the way we're looking for it. If total 3 comes down and it flips this into support, that's also a nice layer. So again, I do think that, what you're already going to see right now, I think it's going to happen very soon. Bitcoin is going to flip bearish. All right, this candle has no bottom wick, so you kind of flip this candle bearish. Price will push into the, potential 39K. Okay, the $39,000, and from there, we should see some sort of bounce. And if that happens, fantastic. That's kind of what you want to look for when looking at these type of setups right here. Okay. Audio I've added to the list. Fantastic. Thank you. Please see how sharply AVAX has made a change of character to the upside here. AVAX, another one. Another one to take a very close look at right now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Same thing, right? Weekly level was right there. 28.159. Right at the weekly level. The 1 hour. Traded below it at first. Now is coming above it. That's your sweet spot. Now what's happening here is if you flip your weekly level again back into support. So you came below it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. And the 7th hour you traded above it again. You know, you have an hourly closure above it as well. So a retracement right now is your sweet spot. Okay, that's where you want to look for your long setup here. Because you can now flip that weekly level and look for entries from it. Because you have a clear level to put your stop loss below it, which is at the 27.617. Taking that back to the upside right here, you know, and you have a really nice clean trade to the upside. I think that's absolutely key when you start pushing down, coming back into that level and look for further continuation to the upside right there. That's the sweet spot, all right? When you flip back an area of resistance, you know, a quick wick to the downside here, multiple hourly candles below the weekly level, flipping that back into support. Extra confidence on your long setup, if that makes sense right there. Okay, so indeed, I do really like it. I think it's a fantastic one to look at. You can decide to take the trade on, you know, the lower time frame, an aggressive trade around here. But of course, what will be much more, you know, beneficial, of course, in my opinion, is looking for that actual continuation towards the upside right here. Okay. That's something I'm interested in, to see how we can highlight it from there. Overall, that pullback would be amazing. I'm not interested in looking for an entry right from the 28 point, you know, right now. I would definitely wait for that retracement. Bitcoin is showing that sign here. You can already see it. There we go. This is the moment where you're going to come down. The candle is flipping bearish. You come down from the low to the high. The 50% is the $39,000. You want to see reaction from it. Okay. The least that we want to see, we don't want to fall below the 38.835. If you start coming below the 38.8, you start breaking the body. You know, you're creating a new, you know, body right there. It's going to be a little bit tricky because this is where you have these closures below. So unless you swipe it real quick, you don't want to stay below it too long, because this is just going to drive us back towards the 38,500 again. All right, so these are kind of like the three levels you should look at right now. It's like the 39.2, the 38.8, the 39. That's actually 4 levels right here. Okay, so if you come back to the 39, you could bounce. Okay, fantastic. If you bounce from there, sweet spot. If you start coming below, you want to come and bounce at least from the 38.839. If you start coming below the 38.839, 38.5, you know, and then it could be quick, you know, move down again. So definitely something to take a look at here. Overall, the Tether dominance is looking amazing at the moment here. We could easily still see retracement back up, but that could also react and lead into further downside as well here. So yeah, all kinds of scenarios and all kinds of reasons why our entries, you know, are now getting very interesting right here, due to the fact that, you know, that retracement is something that we need to look for right now. All right, because if that happens, then some of these setups are going to be triggered, and we might be in some, you know, a couple of positions already, or you might be in a couple of positions, you know, right away after the stream, or maybe even during the stream. Who knows? Let's see how this goes here. Can you explain the 1 daily, the 1 weekly candle flip trading strategy here? So yes, absolutely. So for example, right, when looking at the YouTube setups from yesterday, we talked about this a lot on the stream. We said, you know, many times over that when you close below a strong daily level, you want to see at least some sort of, you know, closure you want to wait for the next candle to open bullish. What tends to happen is with a candle, right? It opens bullish, so it turns green and it flips red. So what tends to happen is that they gather enough liquidity. Just to put it in perspective, when you see the daily open right here, you see that, you know, the market opens up. The new daily candle gets created. What tends to happen a lot is that it tends to lead people into the wrong direction. You gather the orders to flip price. From a daily time frame standpoint, you can see that they're then creating the top wick. And if you then flip the body closure, that key closure where the candle open was, so the daily open, if you flip then the daily open, then you could lead into that continuation. And that's why you can see right now that, you know, the entry was, of course, at the 33.85. The topic was created. That's where your stop loss is at, above the daily high. And then you target the previous daily low. You can target the previous weekly low. You can target the first value gap on the higher time frame. But this all comes into play when you break or bounce from a strong daily or weekly level, if that makes sense. We're going to go over this many more times. So it's important for you to subscribe and hit the notification bell as well here, because these type of setups are going to occur much more here. Also, let me know in the chat right now if you like this strategy, if you find this interesting to talk about a little bit more often, and to talk about it live as well when you see it actually happening. Sometimes we have to start doing it in different types of sessions, sometimes due to the fact that we can then see it live occurring as well right here. If you like that, let me know in the chat right now if you're interested in that. Could be very good. Okay, overall, what are the positives of daily candle flip trade setups? You remove a tremendous amount of noise. That's number one. All right, you're not struggling on the lower time frame. It is very easy to trade, and the confirmations, and from a logical standpoint, you know, you create a daily high, you break the daily open. You know, all these things are reflected in two simple candles. That's it. All right, beautiful setup. You look at the daily open here. You can use all kinds of tools to then confirm that break. That's your point of interest. You can see if sellers are actually interested in pushing price down. And if you get that confirmation, the probability of these type of setups is ridiculously high. All right. So thank you very much. Let me know if you would love to see more about this particular strategy. Okay, heading into the pullback right now. This is what we're seeing. So we are coming back closer and closer to the $39,000. I personally think it's a matter of time before we actually should see some sort of reaction from it. Okay, overall, the 1 hour time frame on AVAX is still one of my favorites right now, to be honest, because you can flip a weekly level back into support right here. I would love to see price pushing back a little bit further, back towards the 28.161 here. That would be absolutely fantastic if you could get there. Just because of the fact that, you know, if you can do that, you fill up a complete gap, you flip it into support, your stop loss is very clear, and you can target, of course, that range that has been building up right there as well as your main target to look for it. Okay, so daily candle flips, by the way, key. If you are a beginner trader, you know, I think that it's an important strategy and an easy strategy to to start with. And the reason why is because you remove so much noise that it's very difficult to understand for a lot of people, especially when you're beginning. You know, so the fact that you can trade on the daily time frame and you can day trade on it is by itself already ridiculous. And the reason why you can't do that is because you have thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies to trade with. Hundreds of them are on futures. So for that particular reason, there is always one that breaks out of a daily level or a weekly level or gets rejected by one. So there's always opportunities out there that you can then utilize. All right. And that's the key difference between the traditional markets here. These weekly and daily levels do not occur that often. All right. Therefore, you have that advantage in crypto. And that's why the strategy is so extremely powerful as well to take in consideration. So if you're not going to do it, I'm going to just bombard you with potential proof, trade setups, P&Ls, and proof that it works. Okay, so I leave this up to you. Now let's go over a couple more here. I think RD is also interesting. One is coming back now slowly but steadily to that range. Also very interesting here. Bitcoin is now at 39. So, you know, we are now going to see, you know, what we truly want to do here. Are we going to bounce from here? Are we going to come back to the 38.839? If you break this, of course, 38.5, you should be more patient with your setups. You should be a little bit more careful with the confirmation of your entries right there. Okay, beautiful. Pavel says, I find the daily candle flip really useful and easy. Marton says, we are here to conquer. Of course, you want to learn this one. Jolene says, learning the candle flip has been a great help. Amazing. Amazing. Marton says, weekly and daily flip at resistance support is awesome. I completely agree. Okay. Darius Trace says, Lorenzo, which exchanges are involved when we want to join the crypto VIP? So for Tim Signals, he is using BitCat for now. BitCat is, in my opinion, one of the leading exchanges. They're one of the fastest growing. They have one of the biggest reserves next to Binance. No hustle. I do like BitCat a lot here. So, you know, you could choose between BitCat, Bybit, or MaxC, or Phoenix. Phoenix is coming along here. If you currently, you know, you cannot do any KYC, then we'll have a Phoenix offer for you as well, where you can simply create an account and boom, get started right away without having to verify yourself. So it all depends what you prefer here. In essence, it doesn't really matter, but do take consideration if you take Tim's signals, okay, and you want to win with us in the signal section right here, then, you know, these entries are extremely precise. All right, so sometimes stop losses are, you know, a little bit tighter. That all depends on the trade setup itself, of course, but do take consideration that that's a key thing to take, you know, definitely not for granted, because, you know, these wicks on other exchanges and stuff, you know how it goes. Okay, what else do we what we have? AFX, I hope it's gonna come down here, guys. Let's set an alert together at 28.159. Let's wait for that retracement and let's see how we can pull back into that level. That will be ideal. That will be fantastic here. Cardano is doing something similar at the moment. We are coming back right now to these really nice and clean levels here. Same thing for Cardano. This is also an amazing zone to look at. Why is that? Well, number one, we swiped the lows. We took out the initial highs. You want to create a higher low. You want to come back to the low that created a new high, and you want to create your higher low. And when you create your higher low, continuation to the upside right here. Okay, that's what we want to look for. That's worth an entry. Why is it worth an entry? Well, again, the weekly support is in the middle. So the weekly support can provide you with an extra layer of security. It's like having two bodyguards in front of your house, okay? That's kind of what the weekly support is like, all right? So if you put your stop loss below it, you know, there are reasonable chances that you can hold here. That's why this could turn into a nice 3-to-1 on your money, back toward this high, of course, which is the middle of this range. That will be potentially a great target to look at as well here. All right, Total Tree has a long way to go back to the $460 billion. So there is definitely that upside potential. So Cardano, very nice, interesting to look at here. This is one. The other layer is a little bit more aggressive, which is on the 15, less aggressive, which is on the 15-minute, which then leads into an entry at 45.313, and your stop loss at 44.664. So 44 cents, 44 cents roughly. Okay, 44.6 cents. That's the idea. That would increase your risk reward with a factor 2. Okay, a factor 2. Okay. Let's go over a couple more here, guys. Quick and easy here. I want to keep it quick and short. I want to just end it in a high. I want to make sure that we have our watch list ready. I think that we have a bunch of setups to look at right now. We talked about a bunch of them already. Already Cardano 1. We talked about Solana. We talked about the AVAX one right now as well. A bunch of them. A bunch of beautiful setups. Okay. Mariana says, very useful, helpful for busy people. I agree. Very useful strategy. Arvin says, eat. Was that a mistake, or was it actually? Is it actually? No, it's actually shadow. I didn't even know. EW, okay. Aye. Nothing. Nothing. I mean, on the lower time frame, you maybe, but again, there is no risk to reward here. So, you know, you have this high. If you come back towards this low already, then where are you going to put your stop loss? It could be, but it's not really my favorite at the moment. Look on the weekly time frame. This is looking very, very weak. Link has been discussed. We didn't talk about Link yet here, right? No, we didn't. So Link is actually one of the better performers right now. It's still, you know, far above that weekly support. So this was that weekly support right here, and right there. Now, when looking on the daily time frame, you know, we're still in a range, and this is good, but this is also not really what you want. You want to actually, you know, get out of a range to trade to a range. And when you're in a massive daily range, this is where things can get tricky very quickly because of all that price action and volume that we have seen within that particular range right here. The only thing that's interesting though, in my opinion, is if you take out all that liquidity here, which you have now done. So all these stop losses are now taken out. You start coming back towards the lows right here. So you have this particular low. This is also where your weekly support is at. This is now an amazing area. This could be a nice point of interest right now to look for that further continuation. But the problem is that this is still way too far down. It's another 7% dump here. It could be later, but the thing with Chainlink, we just held too strong. There we go. 50-minute here, pullback. Okay. 50-minute pullback right now. I mean, this could be interesting. Why? Because you created a bounce from the point of control. You took out the highs. You pull back towards the lows that created that high. The only pinpoint is that I would not put my stop loss above or below here to keep it very, very tight. You know, you can get it swiped into these wicks. I would really put it below the low here. And the beautiful thing about this setup here is that you can take it back towards the highs, which is kind of a retest of that trend that you have been broken here or have been breaking. So you have that layer you broke below the trend line. You bounce from the point of control of this range. Fantastic. You create an internal higher high, create a higher low, stop loss is below the point of control, and you target the retracement or the breakdown, that initial break, okay? A lot of people got trapped right here. A lot of people went probably long here as well. So if they're not stopped out yet, they will probably break even when price pulls back. And shorters know that. So then when you come back up again, you know, people start stepping into the market as shorts again. So the beautiful thing about this setup is that if you come up here, that, you know, you, let's say, retrace, you get into your long, your stop loss is below, you come up and you can immediately open a short position to trade against your long or close your long and open a short right away. So you're right away in motion as well. Every trade that you should take could be considered a starting phase where you know, and this is the next step where you start up with a long, you flip it into a short, you see if there is more trending market behavior. If that's the case, you can immediately flip it into a long, and so that's you can start building up your longs and your shorts. But this is something for later. But overall, you know, every TP could be a short position. Why? Otherwise, why would it be a take profit? Why would you exit there if it couldn't be a short? If that makes sense, right? It's just something to think about. All right. Yeah, one or two more setups real quick. Let's do it. And let's go over the list that we have been building. Specific entries. And I think that's just a fantastic kickoff right here. This is what we want to see, okay? We are starting to push back. So we need to really pay attention to the 38.84. The good thing though, what you can see already right now is, okay, the Tether dominance is starting to push. That's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see that retracement and that continuation down. And the Bitcoin dominance is still looking weak. So that's why I'm extremely happy to see that, because that means that altcoins do not get affected that much with Bitcoin's pullback right now at the moment here. So you can see that reflecting in the charts of the majority of altcoins as well. Okay. So then at least two more setups I want to look at. One of them is Polkadot. Look at Polkadot right here as well. We had that weekly level. We never came towards that weekly level here. We did, however, have this range that we can use and utilize, and we came back towards the, or we're trading above the weekly or the daily point of control of that range. You know, this could be like a flush and then boom, that continuation here, or at least a short-term bounce. So the fact that you broke above it is a good sign. So, you know, you could flip this into support and look for that continuation to the upside. And the beautiful thing about that is that you have this zone right now sitting right below it. So that's why I'm actually quite bullish in the short term on this one right here, and then taking it back towards, you know, that particular range, which once again comes back towards this zone with a TP point right, of course, at this level right here, which is at 6324. That could be an entry of, you know, 6191, stop loss at 6125, target the 6324 as your TP1, and then your TP2 should be roughly around the top of that range where you have that major drop off, that major sell off from there. Okay, so yeah, Polkadot looking actually quite nice here. So we are at 55 likes here. We need 5 more likes for the 60. We should be able to do it together, guys. Again, it's super important for us that we get these likes up right now. We made it in automation. You know, that's an equal share of value. Think about this. You press one button on your mouse and I'll talk for an hour. All right, let's put it in that perspective. Okay, now that was Polkadot. Really nice and clean as well here. So I want to make sure that everything is added to our list. I think that we have done this already. Harmony 1 is already there. Then, oh, not yet. Okay, there we go. That's why we confirm it. And then the last one I wanted to look at here is, let me see real quick. Matic, definitely not. Let's look at Dogecoin for a second. Let's just see what Dogecoin is doing here. I think this could be interesting. Let's see what's happening here. Yeah, we're still above this zone, yeah? Okay. Okay, we had these 2 levels right there. Yeah, we're in massive support. We're not looking that strong. Not strong enough to me. This is like a lower time frame rejection, right in that zone. So you need to start really breaking above it. And that's currently not what we're seeing here for Dogecoin right now. You really want to break above that and flip that into support to then look for that continuation to the upside right now. This is on the lower time frame, just a rejection point here. This could still be some rest liquidity below as well. So again, you want to then at least take out that low. So yeah, I would prefer to see something like this. Actually, in the short term, this is on the 3-minute time frame, so that can happen quick. But I would prefer to flush out the lows, then create a higher high internally and then a higher low trade, and that would mean an entry right around there. So that would give us something like this. And this is all subjective right now. This is just a potential scenario, but we need to see that playing out first. When you break down higher high, higher low, boom. Continuation here to the upside right now. Okay, Bitcoin, boom, fantastic. That's what we wanted to see here, coming below around the 39k and then seeing that reaction. Okay, that is good. That is good stuff. Overall, that's a good start, a good foundation here for Bitcoin. Hopefully, we can push through right now for Bitcoin, or you know, maybe even just, you know, come down a little bit more, but not too low. Okay, definitely not below, like we talked about here, and below the key levels of the 38.8. That will be not as good, Anything above it, fantastic. Okay, last one, guys, last one here. Can you check ICP? Let's do it. Internet computer, one of the, what could I say, the most mysterious, one of the most interesting setups or interesting projects out there. Weekly support, yes, confirmed. All right, really nice. Yeah, it's really nice. 30 minute. Okay, yeah, you have that zone already. Just one massive expansion. Let's see if this zone aligns. It's a bit lower. There's not much volume traded there. Not my favorite, to be honest. The weekly time frame, yeah, you are bouncing from weekly support, so that's good. But the problem is that, you know, this is sometimes what happens as well. But when like looking at weekly support and resistance here, you know, there could be also multiple levels very close to each other. It doesn't mean that the weekly time frame does not have, like, you know, it has to be 20, 30%, 40, 60% difference between levels. Sometimes, you know, you have weekly levels being very close to each other, have like a 10% gap here. So what you want to do is you want to come down to the lows and then look for that continuation to the upside here. But I want to see then at least for this one, a complete pullback towards the actual lows right here before, you know, looking for that continuation further to the upside. Right? Anything above or right now around here is just not something to be looking at in my opinion. Right? Because you're coming already to that range here, and we already feel more than 50% of that expansion. Okay, so to conclude. You know, of course, we had a couple ones to take consideration. Harmony 1 is on my list. And the reason why is because I think that Harmony 1 is one of the ones that were looking very, very good when things were not looking that great in the market overall here. So the Harmony 1 is actually showing, you know, signs of strength before that bounce, which was a very good sign here. That's why I put it so high on my radar. So my initial, let's clean it up for you guys. The weekly support was right there. Okay, this is definitely a zone that I'm interested in. This aligns now really nicely with this low too high. This is right below the 50%. This also gives you the confirmation of this range. You can see that the point of control trades perfectly above it. The value area high trades above it. So you have two key levels that are slightly above. So what you want to do is you want to then look for an entry slightly below in the hope that, for example, you know, you wick into your position, into your trade, and then immediately, you know, you have the tightest stop loss possible right here to then target the highs right there. And that's a 5+1 here due to the fact that there is still a significant gap to fill here if you start coming and trading back towards the highs. That's one entry, okay? Entry at 0.01328, stop loss at 0.01315. The next one, if you break that, is this particular level right there. It's the actual low that created the high back towards weekly support. Then you can put your stop loss, which is the beautiful thing about it, below the weekly support. Now that could help you, you know, like we said before, 2 bodyguards. Again, looking quite solid. Could also lead to 5-1 here. And you fill up that last gap. So again, you can do, instead of placing one position, you place 2. And you just pretty much spread your risk and see which one plays out. All right, that's my recommendation here for Harmony 1. Keep a very close eye on it. Polkadot, we just discussed. Potential breakthrough moment here. We have the point of control of a bigger range. Continuation here. Highly recommend to just scroll through the stream. You know, to start going through them as well. Already potentially very interesting very soon. Okay, 52.286. Stop loss at 50.978. Okay, below the low. You target then an expansion and a breakout to the upside right here. Very, very nice, very clean. Arbitrum is the only one where we're like, okay, we don't look for a long, we only look for a short. That's another layer for further continuation to the downside here. And XLM, you know, we want to come back towards the value area low of that range, where one more time we look at this retracement. So a lower low, a higher high, higher low, pulling back 62% and lower. Entry 10.7 or sorry, 10 cents, 797, and then 752 is your stop loss right here. Okay, Crypto says, hello, mate. Can you check Kaspa? All right, that's the last one we're going to check out here. Just for you, my friend. Just for you, okay? Let's see. Oh yeah, we had that rejection twice from point of control. We came back towards, beautiful, man, daily support right here. Beautiful, clean daily support here. So daily, we're reacting from that. It's a fantastic zone to look at, by the way. You're already looking to get bought up here. These are all the good signs of a bouncer. So this is also a very, very nice potential scenario where you can bounce from. I mean, this is just looking great, man. Entry, stop loss below, looking for the continuation to the upside. The reason why is look at what we have been building here. All right, and the reason why you don't want to enter on a trend line break is because you have the risk of coming back and stopping you out before price goes in that direction. So you want to get in before, preferably on a daily level. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. It's this range that expanded, retraced multiple times, but this is now taken out. So all the stop losses that were built up below are now taken out here. So people went long here, stop losses were there. People went long there, stop losses were there. People went long here, stop losses were there. People were long here, stop losses were there. All of these stop losses are taken out while you tap into the daily. So, the majority of people that went long before got stopped out right now. This is now, clean. Now we can start thinking about, okay, where's the liquidity build? Above, for sure. We have been building that trend. We have been not taking out any highs. Obviously, this is where a lot of liquidity now gets built for people that went short. All right, so if you get these internal confirmations, which you can see right now in the 1 hour already, that might be an interesting level to look at, just in general. Okay, so I do like it. I do think that there is definitely some potential out there. Okay. Question is, do you want to take it to lower time frame, and come back towards these internal levels? I think it's worth it as long as you place your stop losses below the daily levels here, and preferably a little bit lower to look for that continuation. Okay. All right. Marton says, in the order why you wait for the high to be broken, I think we need to break the 56 for the 56.5254 and can you explain short why you think the 54.5 is what you're waiting for? Yes, let's do it. So the two scenarios. Okay, yes, you could flip this and you could be entering here. Okay, so that's why we put an entry at 52.286 and your stop loss below the lows. So it is a potential scenario where you could look for an entry here. The extra confirmation would lay into breaking the high. And the reason why is because if you pretty much look at the high that created that low, it is that high. This is where we saw that final drop-off moment here. At the same time, when we try to break above it, you can also see that, we kind of just swiped the initial highs right here, and it's not really reacting, right? So at this particular moment, that push around here, we have not seen a body closure above here. If that body closure was above there, strong body closure above, and then a pullback to the lows here, I would be extremely confident right away. Boom, entry there, stop loss below. Now it's a more riskier play. It all depends on the way you manage your trade, and if you do this accordingly. You could be lucky and get into your position here and have a nice trade towards the upside. So it depends on risk management. Okay, for now, Bitcoin is indeed, let me quickly go to lower time frame here. Holding up now, okay, decent. All right, the tether dominance, this is just where you can confirm it with right now. You just go to the tether dominance as well. You look at the lower time frame. Tether dominance is coming up. Do you think that tether dominance is ready to come down again already? Well, what I personally think is that we might be pushing back towards these highs right there. Okay, so when you draw the high to the low, this is where you come to the 618. I think when price is there, this is where you should be looking at where Ordi is at. So if Ordi is there nicely in that zone, and the tether dominance is there, and you see a closure, a little bit of weakness here, one body closure below it, looking like a rejection, a candle, then it's worth an entry. If you want to look for an extra confirmation, you break the high, higher low, come to the base to the upside. Okay, I hope that makes sense, you guys. Potential scenarios here. Again, what would invalidate the bounce? Like I said before, the weekly break, the 6.5% here on the tether dominance. Anything below this could still lead into a pullback, therefore a bounce for the market, right? The Bitcoin dominance is now looking not that strong. We have seen that rejection here beautifully at 51.76%. So as long as we see the rejection from the Bitcoin dominance as well below, and the tether dominance is getting rejected, we're going to see a significant increase here, right? The total tree target is the 460 billion. That's where you need to get out. Anything around there is where it needs to get in. If you break below the $440 billion or $441 billion, which is, like I said before, that weekly support, big problem for altcoins. Okay. Thank you guys so much here. I'm going to keep it short and powerful. I'm going to make sure you guys are updated in the YouTube setups like we done before. Okay. Make sure you join our Discord. Very importantly, make sure you get into our crypto VIP. Deposit $100 on an exchange and sign up, and then follow his signals right here. Links in the description. But just get in and enjoy our fantastic community and all the setups that we share on a day-to-day basis here. Keep it transparent, keep it real with you guys. And again, trying to give you some alpha on a day-to-day basis. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.